we're now going to make a tutorial about how to use the SVG workflow with the super text. So first we need to import the SVG. Okay, it's here, SVG logo, and I'm going to use only the typography in this case. Entering the edit mode. Okay, now I have my curves. I'm going to use the designs geometry node setup. Maybe it's like a bit bulky, so I'm going to scale 4 times and apply the scale. No, looks better. So now I'm in the geometry nodes view, and here we can edit note about the design. We have a whole tutorial about that. But in this case, I'm only going to turn on the instances. I'm going to use a sphere, for example, for the instances. I'm going to hide it. And here I select the sphere. Of course, the sphere is too big, so I'm going to set the scale at 0.01. Now the size is correct. I recommend you to use a merge by distance node. Could be useful here in the instances. Also on the stroke. And well, we're not using the other node, so I'm going to leave like that. And now we have our text ready. Control A, visual geometry to mesh. Okay, looks good. Now our text is a mesh. Enter into the edit mode. Select all with A, P, and separate by those parts. Now this generates a lot of meshes. And I go to the front view, Shift C, and select all the meshes of the first letter, and Control J. I'm going to do the same for all the other letters. Just don't forget have at least an active object. Okay, now we have each letter separated. I'm going to delete this sphere that we was using like instance, and I recommend you select all and set the origin to center of mass volume. Okay, and now I'm going to hide the collection and use here the asset supertext v6 animation. Okay, this brings another collection that we not going to use, so I'm going to delete all that. And here we have our mesh with all the geometry node animation setup. We only need to select here the collection, and that will be the Heineken logo SVG, and here we have our letters. And if we set here the file of like linear, we can see that the collection isn't correctly orientated. Going to hide temporarily and show the collection, and only going to rotate in C 90 degrees, and that should solve the problem. Okay, perfect. And just in case this is still being responsive, because the fall-off starts here in where the letters begins. But if I hide this and show the collection, for example, delete the first letters, if I hide the collection and show the modifier or the animation asset, this respects the bounds of the collection automatically. And in this way you can have your completely customizable text or logo, and with all the features of super text animation. Only make a quick review of the new animation UI. We have the in and out animation by separate, and all the rest is very similar to the previous version, but more tidy with a better organization. We have a section for easings, and now you only see the options that you can change depends of the easing you are using. For example, in Elastic we have all these parameters, but with Power we only have in out, and exponent, and so on and so on. The same with fall off. We can choose between linear and radial fall off, and preview or not preview it. Also, you can change the pivot point. You can preview the pivot point. Okay, and here I just made a last minute change. I added this node and this one to shift the XYZ axis. So now if you change the Z axis, here rotates correctly. And if you change the X axis, also rotates in the right way. But if maybe this not works for you, you can mute it with M. Okay, this all about the transforms. You can also add random transformations like random scales, like for example random rotations. You can check and uncheck to make, for example, random translates but only in Z axis. And also I have the control of the random constraints here. For example, now is rotating in all axis, but I want to rotate only in the Z axis. So I uncheck the X and Y axis and magic. And that's all you need to know about the SVG workflow. You can use any logo or SVG curves you want and animate it with the super text like any other text. I hope you found this useful.